Oops, now
Okay.
we got the recording started. Awesome. All right, so in our packets, we got our glass and we got an array of paints. Yellow, right, yellow, white, green, and orange. A lot of fall colors. And hopefully a paintbrush.
Yes.
What we needed you guys to bring is a glass of water, a little bit of alcohol. We don't need a lot, and some paper towels. If you have a blow jar, you can use it, but it's not necessary. The blow dryer is just if you wanted to speed up the drying time. So I just kind of poured a little bit of the alcohol into a little cup. You don't have to do it. You can just get a paper towel and get it right from the bottom
already.
So what we need this for is we got to clean off our glasses, even though they're clean. Sometimes the oils from our fingers, invisible dust, collects quickly on them. So we want to make sure we have a good, clean surface for the paint to adhere. We're going to be actually turning this into a pumpkin.
Ooh.
So the dome portion is going to be the pumpkin. The stem is going to be the stem. We're going to color this probably green too, just so it adheres. And we're going to have some curly vines that we'll paint at the end. So the good thing about rubbing alcohol is it dries really quick. It evaporates almost instantly. So once you get that on there, we're ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do, we have to start with the largest amount of color that is going on the glass, which is going to be our orange. So the bottom portion is going to be our pumpkin. So we're going to start with just straight orange right from the tube or the packet, and it's a very vibrant orange. And we're just painting it. We're just going to go all the way around. So you stop where the stem is. We're going to color that a different color. So I'm just going all the way around. And the good thing, this part is pretty great because you have the stem of the glass to hold while you're painting. That's why we did this part first.
You're so smart.
I just learn. I learn quickly. Hello, Teresa.
Hi.
Welcome. So we're changing up our project. We were going to do sippable wine glasses, but I'm not sure of the type of paint we're using. So we're doing just more of a decorative. We're doing a fall pumpkin candle holder. So we'll put a candle right on top after we're done with it.
How cute.
So this is a pretty simple project. So the first thing before you got here, what I did was I just got a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And I just wiped down my glass because there's lots of like fingerprints, the oils from your hands, dust, if anything like that might interfere with the paint. So we just got to quickly just wipe it down real quick, and it evaporates super quickly, so it doesn't take too long to get done. And then the next step is just painting the bottom dome portion orange. We're just starting completely orange. We're going to layer it with different colors in a bit.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Hello, Joanne. Welcome.
Oops.
Let me see. I'm making sure. check everybody. Okay. So Joanne, we're just, we're going to be painting this into a pumpkin. So if you have any alcohol, wipe down your glass, and then we're just painting the dome portion completely orange right now. And this paint looked like it's drying pretty quickly, so we're in a good spot. So the thing with glass, sometimes it looks like we got everything. If you want to double check, just hold it up into the light to see if there's any any cracks. And I just got paint on myself, but that's okay. Yep. That's all right. We just cover it right back up. All right, so I'm gonna see just so I can show you how this is progressing. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get a blow dryer. I'm gonna put it on mute so you don't have to listen to it though.
Yeah, me too.
Well, okay, so I gotta, because I am not super tech savvy. I wish I kind of, not in this realm. All right, where are my options? All right. All right. I'm still trying to figure out how to mute this thing. Yep. Okay, so I didn't blow dry the whole thing. I just made sure that the top where we're going to be working next is blow dried. So I don't do what I did before and get paint on my hand. So yep, it's pretty dry. If it's wet, you could still work on it. It's just this is just a little bit less stress trying to not get paint on yourself. So Now that we got our orange going, I'm going to clean my brush. Just swish it in the water that we have and just dab it on a paper towel until the color runs pretty clear. Because what happens is, and we are going to use this later, is if you mix the orange and the green, you're going to get brown. And we will need some brown later, but not right now. We don't need a lot of green for the stem and the base. So well, this is a thick green. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use the top of my paint lid. I'm going to pull some of the dark green, or the green that we have is straight from the tube, and I want a little bit of white because it's a little too vibrant for what I want. I don't want the color fighting with the vibrance of the orange. So I'm just kind of lightening the green up a little bit. I'm cleaning my brush so I don't get my white too muddied. All right, so I got some white and I got some green, and it should turn kind of a pastel minty color. I did touch my stem quite a bit, so I might actually, like when I was painting the green, so I might actually go ahead, just take another precaution and just get the edges and go around one more time. As I said, this alcohol evaporates really quick, so by the time we're actually ready to paint, it's not going to mess with our paint. So I don't need a lot of this green color. I pretty much have a thin layer on the top of the lid. And I am going to probably start at the base. And I'm actually going to turn the glass on the table so I don't have to go around too much. Everyone doing okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So yeah, so I'm starting from the bottom and going all the way up to the top. The cool thing about painting the wine glasses is that light does shine through. So if you wanted to get one of those little LED lights, like those LED candles, you can put one underneath here. So it'll light up, because if it was a regular candle, it wouldn't have any oxygen. But you can have it light up here, and you can have a regular candle on top. So you can have it like a double illuminary. I noticed when I was painting around, some of the paint started to glop, so I'm just kind of smoothing it out right now.
How far do we go up?
All the way up. All the way up.
What kind of paint are you using? Is it acrylic?
It's an
special
acrylic paint. Generally, if we were using these to drink out of, we generally bake them in the oven so the paint cures and it hardens. It comes fused with the glass, but these are from a tube, so this is more of like an artist paint versus a crafter's paint. Crafter's paint comes in little bottles. Some are made specifically for glass, some of them, but generally all of them have the same formula where it's really liquidy and it goes on really thin, so it bakes onto the glass. That's kind of why we switched it up from what I was going to do, just because this way we don't have to worry about baking it. It's going to be for decorative purposes. It shouldn't scratch or anything like that. And the other thing is, I don't know, with acrylic paints that artists use, the thicker body ones, sometimes they have metals and minerals in it, like cadmium. That's not good for human consumption, so we definitely don't want to play around with that. So this one's just for decorative purposes. We'll do another with the craft paint next time, especially around
And the kind that you do have to bake, how
Yes.
long do you bake it and what temperature?
Generally you put it on a low temperature. I believe it's like, because between 200 and 300 degrees. I can get you the exacts after. I'd have to Google it, but roughly it's a really low temperature for a good amount of time. So for one glass, generally about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours at 200 degrees. So what it's doing is it's slowly drying it out and taking all the excess moisture, and it's fusing to the glass. It's almost becoming one with the glass. And just depending, like there's so many different types of craft paint. Some are just better than others. So ones that are formulated for glass, they've been tested to be um, be used for that purpose. So I got my stem, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn everything upside down, because I am going to paint the base on this side.
Oh.
And I'll
Same
tell you why.
color?
Same color. If you need to mix a little bit more of your white and green, you can. I think I might have just enough for this one spot here. So what is going to happen when we flip it back over, the color is going to shine through, but we're not, you're going to see the gloss shininess in addition to it. So we won't have to worry about the candle scraping the paint. So I'm just kind of gently turning it with my finger on the parts that are not painted until I get to the end here.
Shoot.
And then I'm going to see. And clean my and my water. And get to everyone doing all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. So I am going to just gently, I'm going to use 2 fingers in the glass and my bowl, and I'm just going to show you. It just, oops. Now that I see it on thing, I need to paint it a little more. Okay, so give me one tiny second. I might actually add some darker green to this just so it's a little bit different than. Let me try this again. Get a little bit more smooth. See, that was what I was saying, like when you put it up to the light, then you see all the spots you kind of missed. I didn't realize it until I lifted it up. I was like, whoa, there's some spots I would like to cover.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you can see right through them, through the paint.
Yep, it's, yeah, no, the granted, this is, we could do it in layers once it's dry.
Yeah, I think so.
And the pumpkin part itself, we're not nearly done. We're going to add more to it. So getting a good base color, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blow dry my stem real quick. Okay, so just let me know when everyone's pretty ready for the next step. Sure. So I'm just gonna set up my paint for the next step. I'm getting mostly yellow and I'm gonna incorporate some orange into it so I get a lighter, brighter orange. So I'm just getting that set up. I'm not gonna start just yet. Mostly I'm doing that because the ratio to yellow to orange is not precise. Okay. All right, are we ready for the next step by any chance, guys?
Almost.
Almost?
Melissa,
Okay.
are you
Yes.
mixing the yellow and the orange?
I am, yeah, I'm just preparing it for the next time. So okay, so I just mixed orange and yellow. I
Yes.
had to do a lot more yellow than I did orange. And
Okay.
what I'm trying to get is this almost like a squash, sweet potato kind of color.
Okay.
So it should be warm and light. If I used white instead of yellow, I would have gotten a peach or
No.
and it would not look like a pumpkin anymore. So we definitely want to use the yellow. We just use a lot of yellow, little bit of orange. Always
Yeah.
add.
Orange, okay.
And I've also noticed that the yellow is a lot thicker than the other paints. So it's just going to take a little bit of work to kind of mash it together with the other colors, but it should be fine. So I got my paint ready to go. And I'm not doing it yet, but I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do. So what's going to happen is we're going to section this off into different ovals. And we're going to leave the spaces of the bright orange color. The bright orange color, we just want in the cracks of our pumpkin. The color we're putting down now is going to be like the puffy parts. So like we're kind of creating illusion the light is hitting the puffy parts of the pumpkin, and then the creases are going to be this bright orange, like illusion of a shadow almost.
Oh. It's gonna be.
So we just want to make sure we have our spaces. Is everyone ready for me to show
Yep.
kind of what we're doing? Okay, so I start at the top. Actually, I said an oval, but it's not going to be quite an oval. It's because it's going to have a point at the top. So we're just kind of dragging it down. and just kind of covering it. The good thing about this is going on pretty thick, so you won't need too many layers. If the color underneath it starts to blend or starts to come up with it, that's okay, because we're going to have that nice illusion. Just kind of keep painting downward. I went up and I realized that wasn't the right way to go. So now we have a good swatch right there. I'm going to just kind of touch it up the way I can see it. All right, so then the key is to, when you're doing the second one, you want to make sure you give it space. So you want to make sure that line of dark orange is still visible. I keep going up. It's easier if you go one direction.
Yes.
So you're sectioning it off. And the dark orange is going to stay in between these colors. That's going to create the illusion of the pumpkin. And the pumpkin is supposed to be rustic. So if the color, as I said, if the color isn't even, if you're getting pick up colors of the darkness underneath, that's okay. As long as we go the same direction, it should start to, it looks a little brighter on the camera than it does in real life, at least for me. So then I go back to the top, I start with a point, go all the way down, and I keep going up. Bad habit here. And go to the other side. They don't have to be the same width apart exactly. You kind of want them to kind of be close, but I wouldn't worry about trying to make them all look exactly the same, because again, this is a rustic pumpkin. And we're going to touch this up later, so. I wouldn't worry about any quote unquote imperfections. So.
Oh, my paint is flaking.
Okay, so if that happens, let that part dry and we'll come back to it.
Oh, it's on my paint.
How many sections did you end up with? About 6?
Let's see. Yep, About 6.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, yeah, 6. But again, that's not, that, it could be as many or as little as you want. I try to make them kind of even, but so, just in between paints, I'm just kind of cleaning my brush, kind of twisting the bristles so it's a little bit more pointy than usual. I'm just gonna get my other color prepared while everyone's still working. So my other color, like the color that we need to get to now is the brown. And we can achieve this by using the colors that we already have. So I have my orange that I just used up, the light color orange, I should say. And I'm just kind of pulling some dark orange and green into it just to kind of get a darker, like almost a rust color. When I say brown, I meant more of a rust because I do want it to have some like heavier orange tones. So I just got the orange cup, tiny little bit of the green, and just use the light orange, the remains of that, just to get it looks, it's hard to see, but it's like a rust color. This is going to kind of outline, we're going to kind of outline the edges of our pumpkin in this. We're not going to cover the orange, the dark orange that we have separated. We're just kind of just tracing the light orange sections. And it's okay if it blends a little bit. We kind of want that. We are just kind of cleaning up the edges. So I don't know. You can see it just makes it a little bit, it stands out a little bit more.
Okay, what color did you do? I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. So I'm making a rust color. So it's like a reddish, orangish brown. So I used the remnants of the light orange that we did. I got more
Okay.
of the regular orange and then a touch of green. A little bit of green goes a long way with this one. So, and I'm just outlining the sections that we already created. Just for a little bit more emphasis on the division of the sections. I noticed some of my paint came up when I mixed a little bit of water to it. So I just be super careful. Don't press too hard on your glass. At this point, we have a couple layers of different color paints and you just want to kind of glide it right on top.
Did you have dark orange mixed in with that?
I did, just a tiny bit of it though. Tiny bit goes a long way. So you want it to still be a warm, brownish, orangey color. And we're just emphasizing the sections, that's all. So light against dark creates a really interesting contrast. And then the sections of orange underneath it help with the cohesiveness of the paint. So it just makes it a little bit more standout. All right, so let me know when you got all your sections done. I'm going to touch up some of my base. I saw that when I was turning it, some of the green kind of chipped off. I'm
Yeah.
just,
So,
instead of mixing it this time, I'm just going to give it a layer of just the straight green. So it's going to have mostly the light green showing on top, but it's going to be reinforced with a dark green layer. Because again, I'm not 100% sure which brand, like what kind of tubed acrylic paints they are. So each one has like a different composition of thicknesses and binders. So I'm just making sure that this is just going to stay for a while. So the green one looks like it's really thick. So I am just going to reinforce what I already have. I'm actually going to come up into the stem a tiny bit, but not too much because I do need something to hold on to for a while. And last time I didn't really do the edges. I'm going to do the edges of the wine glass bottom. So, oops. Because acrylic paint, what acrylic paint ultimately is plastic. It's different forms of plastic. Okay. And I'm gonna kind of just touch up some of this stem. I'm gonna make mine a little darker. I'm just gonna use some straight dark green at this point and kind of just try to blend it into the rest of the stem. Because stems are rough, they're not supposed to be super smooth, so I'm just kind of roughly drying it, and my edges are now painted, so I don't want to touch those. And the last thing that makes it read pumpkin is we're going to add some vines to it. Are we ready for vines? I'm going to see if I can bring this closer. Okay. So just gently, okay. And tilt it. I'm sorry, I'm trying my best to make sure that this is visible. Okay. So when I do vine, okay, first my paint, I'm trying to get my brush to be as thin as possible. So I have paint on my brush. I'm going to use my paper towel. I'm just going to kind of twist my brush with the paint so it's as thin on top as it possibly can. And then I'm going to find a dry spot on my pumpkin. And I'm just going to make a light zigzag, tiny little zigzag. Doesn't have to be fancy. And you're going to just find some dry spots where your pumpkin is, and you're just doing some zigzags. And that's the curly stems that your pumpkin's going to have. We can add leaves too if you'd like. And it could be as long as you'd like. You can make a little spiral too if you feel ambitious. I'm gonna try for a spiral. This one, it's hard when you only have one type of brush to work with. So I didn't do a spiral, I just did a couple C's on top of the zigzags, so it kind of has a little bit more character. And again, if your paint looks wet underneath, you can blow dry it or just wait. can also add some leaves. Pumpkin leaves tend to be big, but you don't have to make them too terribly over the top. I'm doing one, and they're heart shaped. So if you can paint a heart, you can paint a heart right on the pumpkin. Again, you want to make sure it's a spot that's dry. I accidentally got into a part that's not all that dry. But just a little leaf right there. Let me kind of flip this over. Sorry. How do I do this? Oh, there it is. Ooh. It was there. Hold on. There we go. So I'm just kind of some zigzags. And you can tell as I'm doing this, I'm noticing some spots I would probably touch up a little bit. But again, it's supposed to be rustic. I think the one thing I want to definitely do is I want to add more green to my stem because it looks unfinished to me. So I'm just gonna kind of cover that up. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Awesome. Oh, what?
I laugh at myself.
Why?
Because it's a mess. I think it's a mess, but I'm having fun. I don't care.
Good. Well, I mean, if we were in the club, it would have been a little bit easier just to see what everyone's doing and I'll go at our own pace. And plus we have a whole bunch of blow dryers here, so it would have been a little bit easier to paint. And I think I'm gonna try to add another like little zigzag line right here. I'm gonna make it a long one. See, or it's more of a curvy line. We have like a little bit of something curling up here. This little part right here is bothering me. I'm going to just use a little bit. I'm going to try to remix my orange and my yellow. This is
It's bothering me too.
Yeah, I noticed if it's mostly dry, like if it's almost like halfway dry and you kind of go over it, then it does seem to pull up the layer behind it. So I'm just gently trying to smooth this out because I was impatient right there and I wasn't focusing as much as I should have on the layers. Now you can also come in with like a bit of yellow if it's still wet too, and it kind of gives some highlights. Like I'll try to show an example. So I have mostly orange on my brush, but yeah, try to get some more yellow. So yellow in the center is you're kind of telling the eye that that's where the shine, like that's where it's the brightest. Let's see if I can pull more yellow up. Ugh. Yellow is also usually pretty transparent, so having it layer right nicely is kind of the challenge. So if you want it to be a little bit brighter, just add a little bit of yellow to your brush, and you're just kind of gently like bringing it towards the center of the sections. So the brown was on the outside, light orange was in the middle, most of the section, and then a little bit of yellow just in the center part of each section will make it look like it's sticking out. This side's a little wet, so I'm gonna wait. Just kind of highlights it, and my brush is falling apart. That's the thing with wooden brushes, the veneer that they have on them tends to flake off out over time. So this is my problem section right here, and I want to fix it as best I can. So I'm just going to try to hit it as best I can. Sorry guys, I'm talking to myself. All right. Oh, Sharissa, that looks lovely. Or Sharissa, I'm sorry. Did I pronounce your name wrong? Oh, I think you're on mute. Sorry. All right, and then just grabbed a candle.
Thank you. I didn't realize.
Oh, what's up?
I didn't realize my glass was held up so high. I'm coming out with some pretty interesting colors over here.
Yay, that's okay. That's part of art is like discovering.
I love your squash color on the glass. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was just get it like it's not an exact science when you're mixing colors. Like it's that's why I kind of jumped ahead just to make sure I was like getting the color I wanted, because I might have had to go. I kind of went back and forth a couple times. It's like a lot of yellow, a little bit of orange.
Okay.
And the cool thing, like when you have a limited amount of colors to work with, when you mix them together, they already kind of tend to create a sense of unity.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes when you paint right out of the tube, um, you're starting with like a brand new formulation of a color. So when you have color like brand new, not mixed colors, then they tend to stay separated sometimes. That's kind of like a lot of people start painting, and it's really intimidating to mix colors because you want to make sure you have enough of it, making sure it's exact the way you want it. So sometimes when people paint, they use this color straight out of the tube, and sometimes they're like the picture doesn't look unified, like it's all supposed to be in the same setting.
Oh,
But
okay.
when you mix a little bit of a color within another color within another color, it's like it's kind of like a family tree. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's very true.
they pull from the color before it, and they kind of blend.
You know, these colors kind of remind you of a rainforest.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, especially the green's very vivid, and um playing with like yellows and greens and whites and greens, you can get such a large array of like a refreshing vibe.
Absolutely.
And then orange and green are very far away on the color wheel. So when they're next to each other, they just stand out a lot. How we doing, Joanne?
I'm just watching and taking notes because I'm gonna do mine later.
Oh, that was perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Yep.
How you doing, Marcella?
Good.
Awesome. Now, if you have any type of Mod Podge or sealer at home, you can definitely use something that's not flammable, obviously, but it just gives it another coat of, it reinforces the paint staying on the on the glass. As I said, if we were able to bake it in the oven, it would cure and fuse to the glass on its own, but because of the paints, and I'm not sure like about like like what's in the paints, I can't guarantee like the food safety or if it wouldn't burn up in the oven. So next time I'll make sure we have the right acrylic craft paint so we can have these as drinkable wine glasses. And if also the other thing with drinkable wine glasses, even though they are food safe, the paints that they use for that, we still want to try to make sure that there isn't any paint on the bottom or on the rim of the glass, because
Yeah.
there's always that chance of it flaking off over time. So we always want to be safe. And if you wanted to, like this was something that was done a while ago at Gilda's Club. It was another candle thing. Super cute.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's like textured white snow paint. And just little cute stickers to create a thing. But you can also decorate this with a bow if you like. If you wanted to make it your own and make it a jack-o'-lantern, you can make it a jack-o'-lantern too. Like I would just probably, if I were with the colors that we have, I would probably start with that rust brown color that we had, and then I would add a little bit more green to it, because that's probably the closest way we can make it darker to create like a more of a shadow tone, because we don't have black, and black is a little too what's the word,
Harsh.
stark for the pumpkin that we have, because it would look like it was just painted on. Like if you put like a light in there, you want the light to still shine through, like a real jack-o'-lantern. Like when you have a light in there, the light's shining through and the outside's dark. So I would definitely stick with like a brown tone of some sort. And we haven't set up what we're going to do for next month quite yet, but I'm toying around with